So NBC decides, let's hire McDaniel. She's left the RNC. And of course, they go nuts at MSNBC. This is our club. This is our club, and we have our standards, which means no standards. We can't have her on our program because she agreed with Trump about the election. And she did this, and she did that, and she did this, and she did that. So she's not qualified to give opinions that are different than anybody else. So here's the deal. If you're not a rabid, insane, crackpot Democrat with phony hair, or an Al Sharpton type, or so forth and so on. In other words, if you're not a reprobate, miscreant, or malcontent who's a diehard Democrat and Marxist, or a Trump-hating, low-life Republican, you're not welcome at NBC News. This is what NBC News has turned into. And they've proved it. First of all, before we even start, look at the screen. Two of the stupidest people on the face of the earth. Look at them. The one on the right, I think she gets like $30 million for showing up once a week. Isn't it something like that? That's stupid money for a stupid person. She was pushing the Russia collusion stuff for 2 years. And she still has that stupid look on her face. She doesn't get the hook because she's a liar and a propagandist. No. She's their star. And then you look to the left. This is Joy Reid. Joy Reid, some time back, used to be very busy blogging and putting stuff on the internet, slamming Jews, slamming blacks who didn't agree with her, slamming homosexuals, slamming anyone and everything she could with real low-life gutter attacks. Well, MSNBC saw that as a resume enhancer, so they gave her a show, and she's been such a great racist, bigot, and anti-Semite that they gave her a primetime show, 7 p.m., on MSNBC. Now understand, a primetime show on MSNBC is not prime for anything because their viewers are very limited. But they're very fanatical. They're very fanatical, like the River to the Sea crowd, you know, that crowd. That's who watches MSNBC and so forth and so on. And Joy Reid is one of their icons. Now, when she was exposed, she said, somebody obviously broke into, I think it was my Facebook account, and posted all that stuff. And she invited the FBI to go take a look until she decided not to invite the FBI to go take a look. Other experts said she's a liar. Nobody broke into her account to put that stuff on there. But now she's figured out how to be a really good grifter for MSNBC and NBC and the rest of the media. Just attack Jews and Caucasians. And anybody who's a minority who doesn't fall in line, and do it relentlessly. Then you have job security. So on the right, you have a fraud, a complete fraud, who's lied through her 17 teeth over and over again about everything she talks about. And then on the left, you have a true reprobate, a bigot, America's bigot. And that's MSNBC. Now that's the background. You have others. You have Sharpton. You know his history of Joe Scarborough, who is a quintessential chameleon, and his sidekick, Mika Brzezinski, whose father was a notorious, let me put it this way, Israel hater. And they used to have a radio show. It failed. He used to want to come on Fox, but they wanted nothing to do with him. And of course, eventually they married. Ooh. And so there they are. One of the dumbest shows. It's a real competition for which one's the dumbest, but they have their followers. You must not disrupt this environment over there at NBC and MSNBC. It's a cocoon of lunatics. The only Republicans who are welcome are Republicans who are self-haters and who trash the Republican Party and trash Donald Trump and trash the people who vote for him. That is half the country. Those are the Republicans they want. And they've got them. They have Michael Steele, the former failed head of the RNC. Michael Steele, who's become a true loathsome, self-serving grifter. You have Nicole Wallace, who worked for McCain and set up Sarah Palin over and over and over again. She, of course, is a complete lowlife. You have Joe Scarborough, who has lost his mind, such as it was. Completely lost his mind. And he is the Biden whisperer. Biden calls him every morning, and, he feeds Joe his talking points, and I suppose Joe Scarborough feeds Joe Biden his talking point. It's really grotesque. And so this is really TV for a niche. That's all. Well, what about Fox? Fox has plenty of liberals on there who are true liberals. MSNBC has no Republicans on there who are true Republicans or conservatives. Same with NBC. You know, it's like ABC. ABC will take a Chris Christie. Why? Because he spends 90% of his time attacking his fellow Republicans and attacking Trump. You don't have any really solid conservative Republicans on any of these networks. Can you name one, Mr. Maddow? I really can't think of one. Can you? I honestly can't think of one. And if there is one, that's the point. There's one, but I can't think of one. And by the way, I invite these fools on my programs all the time. I gave up. I don't do it anymore. I've been around a long time. We've tried. We failed. Schmuck-Todd, we tried to get him. Schumer, we've tried to get him. Sanders, we've tried to get him. I can go, Romney, we've tried to get him. Dizzy Lizzie, she won't come on anymore. I can go down the list. Why? Because Mark, you're rude. No, because they're fearful that I know what I'm talking about. This is all, you know, play acting here. Ronna McDaniel, or Ronna, whatever the hell her name is, never been a big fan of hers either. Stupidly, she tries to get a job at NBC and they sign a contract. So all the cockroaches at NBC and MSNBC, they come out of the woodwork and they openly condemn their employer. Now, first of all, who does that? Who does that? So the cockroaches are in charge of the ship, as we say. They're running all over the place, and now they get to decide who can and cannot be there. And it's hilarious because you look at Jen Psaki. I know it's Psaki. I call it Psaki. P is silent, not for me. Jen Psaki, who was one of the biggest liars in the history of any press hack, she gets her own show on MSNBC. Donna Brazile, who was head of the DNC, was up to sleazy tactics, leaking a debate book. She gets a big part on ABC. You've got George Stephanopoulos, one of the creepiest of creeps to ever serve a president. He was in charge of the war room, trashing people like Paula Jones and others, Juanita Broderick. That was his job, to destroy women after Bill Clinton destroyed them first. And of course, that was a resume enhancer. He's actually a news guy, a journalist, so-called, for ABC. He's got that stupid show in the morning, Good Morning America. And it's not Good Morning America, it's Shut the Hell Up America. And you can go all through it. You can go all through it, and there's no counterbalance whatsoever. So NBC decides, let's hire McDaniel. She's left the RNC. Weak, from my perspective. And of course, they go nuts at MSNBC. This is our club. This is our club, and we have our standards, which means no standards. We can't have her on our program because she agreed with Trump about the election. And she did this, and she did that, and she did this, and she did that. So she's not qualified to give opinions that are different than anybody else. And so what happens? What happens with the left? They create a mob. They create a scene. They make demands. And so these individuals, all overpaid, millions, all talk to each other, all socialize with each other, people just like themselves. They do not want anybody who watches MSNBC to have any ideas about anything else. Period. That's it. Cut one, go.
Our chairman of the NBC Universal News Group, Cesar Conde, who we both know very well, he sent a memo that we all got as employees here, rescinding the hiring of Ronna Romney McDaniel. And
McDaniel? I know she's a Romney by, distant cousin to Romney, but does she call herself Romney McDaniel? Go ahead.
Felt very strongly about it. I know you felt very strongly about it. I think everyone from 4 o'clock on, from Nicole all the way to midnight, we all felt very strongly and said so.
Wow, so brave. We all. Now, what did she just admit there? They're all of one mind. Everybody from 4 o'clock on felt exactly the same way. Well, of course you did. You're all left-wing Marxist pukes. So of course you felt the same way. And Stalin would be very proud of you. Go ahead.
And I just have to say, when somebody does the right thing, I feel like it should be acknowledged as publicly as we acknowledge.
So he did the right thing. The chairman of NBC Enterprises, or whatever the hell they call themselves, fired McDaniel. Oh, he did the right thing. And, you know, when they do the right things, they ought to be acknowledged and they ought to get credit. He did what? The Democrat Party has purified the Democrat Party. There aren't any moderates left in any significant positions in the Democrat Party. It's over. Period. The media has purified itself too. We cannot have any individual who has a different point of view, period. And they really don't. So the media has purified itself. Academia. Well, now you have faculty hiring faculty from the same schools, people they know with the same ideology. It's incestuous. I wrote about that. Oh, you did? Yes, I did. Purified the faculty in our colleges and universities. It's purified. That is, no challenges, no differences of opinion. Maybe there's an outlier here or there, but we'll get him, don't worry. So they have purified the media, they've purified the Democrat Party, they've purified academia. Now we just need to purify the people and make sure they think the way we think, they speak the way we insist that they speak, that they embrace the values that we insist that they value. That means separating parents from children in our schools. That means talking about Christian nationalism. That means trashing the Jews, you know, people who have their own independent morals and belief systems that don't come from Congress, as that genius said, from political rights come from Congress. Come on, what's going on here? Purifying. Go.
Acknowledged our outrage, and so I know how I feel about it. I am great.
Shut up, you idiot. We don't care about, I knew how I felt about it. Nobody gives a damn what you think or feel, actually. That's why you have 12 people in the audience.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to levintv.com and subscribe now.